Thanks for dropping in. Last week I introduced a super flexible filament swatch system that's also compatible with Rolodex style card holders. This can be a great way to repurpose an old Rolodex that's just collecting dust. But what if you don't have a spare Rolodex lying around? New Rolodex are kind of expensive and come with a ton of inserts that we don't need if we're just using this for filament swatches. So the solution is pretty obvious. Let's 3D print our own swatch holder. Since the size and shape of the filament swatches are super flexible, the swatch holder will need to be just as flexible. I printed off 2 copies for this video to show off some, but not all of the available range. This print was created for the swatches I already printed. Fairly standard 4" by 2¼ cards. That's about 100 by 57 millimeters. These parts are for a cute mini swatch holder. That's size for 40mm by 40mm cards. So let's get this assembled. First, find these 2 wheel pieces. They're symmetrical, but one side will have some bridging. The bridging turned out fairly clean here, but I still want to assemble it so those are as hidden as possible. Next, get the axle and slide both wheels on. This connection should be fairly tight. If the wheels don't slide on, you can increase the axle tolerance setting in the OpenSCAD file to give it a looser fit. Next, we're going to slide on both of these stand sides. If the tolerances are good, the axle will turn with a bit of resistance every 30 degrees. Next, we're going to attach the stand bars. These should be pretty tight or the whole thing will fall apart on you. If these parts are too loose, don't bother printing another copy. Just take a scrap of brim from a previous print, cut it into a small strip, and use it as a shim between the parts. If your printer makes straight purge lines before each print, those are already a perfect size. Next, we're going to slide on these knobs. Once again, use a shim if they aren't really tight, or glue them in if you're absolutely certain you're not going to disassemble it in the future. It's time to add the swatches. You'll notice that these mini swatches are only 2 colors. They're cute and all, but I didn't want to print an entire second set of colors just for this video. One bonus to this design is that the wheels that hold the swatches have small ribs every 60 degrees. This means that, unlike a regular Rolodex, the swatch holder works perfectly fine with only one swatch or card installed. Just pay attention to the ribs when adding the swatches. Ideally, things should be evenly spaced to avoid the holder from rotating too much from an unbalanced distribution. The swatch holder is now assembled. In addition to overall sizes and tolerances, this project came with a few other customizations I wanted to mention. The front of the holder has space for some optional text. The diameter of the wheels can be changed to accommodate more swatches as your collection grows. The larger the wheel, the more swatches. Please note though that when the wheel diameter increases, that affects the overall size of the stand, so you may want to first print the full stand using a large wheel, so you know everything will fit when you eventually switch to that larger size. The axle has an option to include peg holes. You can shove a small piece of filament into these holes to keep the axle from wandering too far left or right in the stand. This probably isn't necessary because the knobs do a pretty good job of keeping the axle in place, but it's there if you want. If you get the sizes just right, this stand should also work just fine with regular Rolodex cards and inserts. I really didn't expect to end up designing a complete Rolodex style system, but now that I have, I could see a lot of opportunities to use this as a base for other types of storage. I might even visit this in the future, or maybe someone else will get there first. That's one of my favorite things about this hobby. People are always looking to make existing printers or projects better. For now though, I hope you've enjoyed this project. And until next week, thanks for stopping by.